We're going to develop a sign in VCarve for our first project. To do that, I'm going to put the size of my stock, which in this situation is going to be 24 wide, 7 1/4 tall, and our thickness is 0.75. I'm going to leave my origin in the bottom left and select OK. I'm now going to add guidelines, which we're going to use for reference to determine where we can add screws into our part to hold it down. I'm also going to add them on the top, and I'll talk about that in a moment, why those are valuable. So I'm going to add 2 screws right here. And so when I actually put this piece of stock into the Shopbot, I'm going to use a pencil and draw a line right here so that I know that we're not going to drill into those 2 screws. Also with that, I'm going to make this line 1/4 inch wide right here from each side, because the bit that I'm going to cut this out with is a 1/4 inch bit. And so by doing this, I can develop the rest of my sign and know that I'm not going to either cut out the top or the side or run into any of my screws, which will be really convenient. So I'm going to draw my text, type in a name. VCarve is pretty much going to be effective with whatever type font that you want. In this situation, I'm going to select 5 for my height and select apply. Close that out. Before I move it over, I'm going to add another guideline there right in the middle. So I can go over here and grab it and move it right there. Perfect. And now I'm going to add a box around that. I'm going to use my inner box here, and I'm going to use an internal radius. And so I can just draw that right in, and it's going to add that for me, which is really convenient. Now I'm going to add an offset on that, so I can add like a little trace line on it. We're going to go inwards, we're going to go in 3/8 and select it and offset and close. And so now I've done everything that I need to do in my 2D view, and I need to start adding toolpaths to cut this part out. To do that, I'm going to use this tab right here and lock that down. And now let's start with the text. So I'm going to go ahead, select here, select my text. I want to make sure it's a 60-degree V-bit, and we're going to title it the initial part of my text. So we'll go and calculate that, and I can preview that real fast. So that looks great. So I can stay with that, I'm going to go ahead and do the trace here. I'm going to have to go back in 2D so I can select it. So I'm going to trace just this line. I'm going to go down 0.1, and I've got my 60-degree bit there again. I'm going to call this a trace. Select calculate and close. And let's preview that also. So we'll preview all visible toolpaths. So that's in there now. My last thing that I want to do is I want to cut this out. And so to do that, I'm going to use this profile tool here. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch straight bit. I'm also going to add tabs. And so I've got to go into tabs, select edit tabs, select the constant distance. I'm going to make sure that there's at least 4 and select add tabs. That'll then show up these little yellow icons, which shows me where those tabs are located. I can select close, and now I can calculate this. And run that. So let's preview that. And so we can now see those tabs. So what we want to do is our screws are mounted over here. So I made that line there. So I'll make sure that it doesn't go past that 1 inch. Same thing with the top. And so now I can reset my preview. I'm going to select each of those. I also want to point out that I've got my 60-degree bit next to my other 60-degree bit. And so I only have to change my bit 1 time on this. So now let's preview our toolpaths. And we're in good shape.